Welcome to the show, Cafecito and Tattoos. Machi's Chat Shack with your host, Machi and Brittany Page.
Mi gente, welcome to CNT. Today on the program, my co-host Brittany Page and I had the pleasure of speaking with actor Paul Walter Hauser. You guys probably know him from several films. For example, The BlacKkKlansman, Richard Jewell, Tonya. This was an incredible interview. We had an absolutely great time with him, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
Richard, you're a national hero now.
Thank you, sir. But I was just doing my job.
You always look at the guy who found the bomb just like you always look at the guy who found the body.
Jewell fits the profile of the lone bomber.
A frustrated white man who is a police wannabe who seeks to become a hero.
We're running it. You're a suspect. You don't talk. I talk. Say it.
I don't talk.
Yes, I'm doing like C. Thomas Howell and Soul Man. No, I unfortunately, because of however I look, a chubby, slightly awkward white dude, I get cast as a lot of like scummy dudes lately, and I play a real scummy dude in this movie.
Thank you for coming on to the show today. We're so excited to have you. I have had the honor of spending the last, I can't even believe it's been nearly 3 weeks. Like, that is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah,
and
it's busy.
It has been an honor and a blast, and getting to know you, and I had to bring you on because you are doing so many big things and so many life changes and so many projects, and I am just so excited to have you on. So I want to start off by saying welcome, and we have a huge celebration. Good job, water. Are you going to chug it?
I'll let me see if I can chug this bad boy. Here we go.
They chase your...
So good at the chugging. We have chugging competitions before dinner because it suppresses your appetite so you don't drink as much, and he kills it every single time.
It's too cold on the teeth. I just put cold water in a thing. Chugging water has become like a thing in this household. I'm like totally I'm into it.
They chase you with water bottles around that house.
Water bottles, carrot sticks. Gallus' brother Rory has a sickle, and hanging from it are olives. It's a whole thing. But it's, fear is a great motivator.
Yeah, it's not like he's the least intimidating person on the planet.
It's it's been fun. It's people are very. I say people, Dallas, but he leads by his example. But a lot of this whole diet and exercise, lifestyle change, transformation, whatever you want to call it, a lot of it's kind of rooted in truth. It's saying, what do you, the person in question who's making the change, what do you want? And then based on what you want, here's what you can do. And for me, I'm losing 40 pounds to play a serial killer in a true crime series at Apple with Taron Egerton and Dennis Lehane, who famously wrote, the books for Mystic River, Gone Baby Gone, Shutter Island. He was a staff writer on HBO's The Wire. I mean, it's a really important project to me, and I don't want to undercut the responsibility. So I knew that a physical transformation would lead to some really great creative results when we go to make the show. So I told Dallas that, but he also knows I have aspirations to be like, to look like Gosling and Chris Evans and all those guys. I don't know if I want the same lifestyle as them. I don't know if I want Chris Evans' touring schedule of Marvel grabbing you by the throat. And I don't know if I want Gosling's lifestyle, but I want to do me, but I want to do it healthier and feel better, gain some new confidence. And then the hope is that I could try anything from ballroom dancing to professional wrestling, because I will have this new sort of pomp and circumstance and skipping my step from losing all that weight.
Well, you are definitely on the roll. He, on his 2-week anniversary of being in the house, he did a weigh-in. He wasn't allowed to weigh in until then. And how much did you lose?
I lost about 17 and a half pounds.
Oh, my goodness. No way.
The system works if you work it, and it's worth it, so work it. Isn't that what they say?
So he's well on his way to achieving all those goals. I mean, you're really killing it. And speaking of wrestling, I know that you got to go with Anthony and Darian to the Nightmare Factory, which is Cody Rhodes' place where they train AEW superstars. So tell us about that. Tell us what that was like for you.
Yeah, I met these tremendous guys named Darian Bankston and Anthony Ogogo, and they work out of the Nightmare Factory, which is run by QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes and that whole team. And I was just happy to go visit. I thought I was, they kind of whispered to me, like, you want to go roll around a little bit? I thought they'd be like, we'll give you one clothesline and call it good. Like, to me, it felt like a field trip when you're a little kid and you're going to go see a place. But instead, they put me in the ring within the first 10 minutes. And I spent almost an hour and a half training. And then last night we went to this guy Mike's place. I think it's called the Underground. It's a little bit of a schlep, like a 45-minute to an hour drive from your place. And it was incredible. Like I'm able to do some of the moves. I'm sore and I'm a little stiff still, and I'm still learning. But there's something to it where I can see minor progression. I have to think, if I did this every week for the next 3 years, where am I going to be? Same with yoga, same with healthy eating, same with holding myself accountable to all the goals I have. It's not about the big steps. It's about the baby steps that lead to the massive big steps.
Right. Well, again, you're killing it, and I have to correct you only because I don't want to get murdered. What did you call it though? Yoga.
DDPY.
Yes. Once my dad watches the show, if I did not correct you, I would literally not live the next day.
You're gonna pay for that, Paul.
but I'm also saying it I was talking about the collective. Anyone doing any weightlifting or long distance running, whatever it is. Think of where you're going to be in 3 years if you start doing things consistently now.
Right.
So that's a big deal to me, to try to not track my course for 3 years from now, but know that inevitably I'm going to be in a really great place each day that I take those steps and those goals really seriously.
Paul, let me ask you a quick question. When you did Richard Jewell, obviously physically it was the opposite spectrum. Did you have to gain weight for that role? What was the eating regimen like? Was that the perfect role for you as far as food consumption?
It was a perfect role for me as far as my spirit. I have a gentle spirit, and I'm a bit of an underdog myself, I think. So I really fell into that role pretty perfectly, I think. I think there are a few guys who could have done it really well. A guy like Jesse Plemons could have done it well. Matt Damon, if he threw on some weight, he could have pulled it off. But I think my gentle spirit, the fact that I'm big on nuances and idiosyncrasies, the idea of people watching, and seeing how people really are in their most naked, undeterred state. I was able to bring that in and make the character my own, I think. I was really happy about that. But as far as the eating, there have been 2 roles where I had to put on weight. One of them was I, Tonya, the Tonya Harding film that I did with Margot Robbie a few years back.
So good.
I was at about 262 when I got the part. And then I was probably 295, 296 by the time we shot. So I put on every bit of almost 35 pounds to play that guy, because I saw the pictures of the real guy who helped set up the hit on Nancy Kerrigan with the leg whack. And I was like, dude, this is a huge opportunity. I have to honor it. So I did that, but it was only fun for the first, 8 or 9 days. You drink enough Dr. Peppers, you pour enough bourbon, you eat enough chips and salsa before the meal at a Mexican restaurant, and eventually it goes from fun to like a prison sentence for your body. So I was glad to have that over with. And then I spent years trying to keep that weight off. And then I booked Richard Jewell and once again put on about 30 pounds, probably 35 for Tonya, 30 for Jewell. And same thing, a bread basket comes at a steakhouse You're going to eat a bunch of bread. You're going to eat all the croutons in your salad. You're going to order a third Coca-Cola. Like, it's all those obvious lethargic, joyful, momentarily joyful cheats to gain the weight. But taking the weight off is a pain in the ass. It's not a lot of fun.
It's so much easier putting it on.
Way easier.
Way easier. I went through something not similar for a job, but after I had Oakley, it was 18 months ago.
Sure.
I was fortunate in a sense because I didn't really gain a lot of weight because I couldn't eat a lot. I had really bad heartburn. So, but the weight I did gain, it was so much, like, you don't notice how easy it is to put on. Like, it just happens. Like, overnight. It's you eat, and then all of a sudden there's that extra 10 pounds, and you're like, where the hell did this come from?
It happens.
And then it's like a pound this week, 2 pounds the next week. So it's so much harder. So again.
Well, and you see those people, you see those really healthy people who, like, they'll go out and they'll have cocktails and they'll grab gelato after dinner. Like, they'll do it up and have a Friday or Saturday evening, but the next day they're in the gym at 7 a.m.
Right.
And that's just, that's the
balance.
difference. If you want to play, you got to really pay, and you got to pay the full way, because even in increments, if you live that lifestyle and have fun and you're not really working out or pushing yourself, those pounds might not come back in a week, but they'll be there in a month,
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you're killing it, and you're learning so much, and even your spirit's different from 3 weeks ago. It's just so cool to watch this transformation. But I really, really want to talk about, because I'm a huge Disney fan, your upcoming movie that's coming out, which is
Cruella.
Gosh.
It's yeah, no, they do these live action movies from the cartoons, and I was kind of against the idea at first because the cartoons are so, like, they're so iconic.
They're classic.
It's like having a new. It's like if a wrestler came into a company and was like, "I'm the new DDP," we'd all be like, "You need to go jump off a cliff." The films are kind of the same thing, where you're like, why would you remake something perfect? The Lion King is perfect, but I have to say I love the Jungle Book one.
Oh, I do too.
I thought Jungle Book was great.
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast was even fun, and I like Emma Watson. It was cool seeing all those things come to life. And then with Cruella, it's going to be cool because it's a different kind of Disney movie. I think it's going to be really memorable because adults and children alike will like it congruently. Right. Like, I think the adults are going to like it as much, if not more, than the kids. And it's got some dark elements. It's not like scary, but it's like, it's intense would be the word I would use. It's intense, and it has some dark humor. And I think it's going to please a ton of people. And, the women that might be dragging their boyfriends or husbands to the cinema to see it, and they'd be like, oh, we're going to go see this Disney movie, even though I want to go see the Dave Bautista movie. I think dudes and women and kids and old folks, senior citizens, are all going to love it.
Well, let me tell you, that trailer was amazing. We got to watch it, Ivan, the other night, and it is gripping. Like, you want to watch it when you're done with it because you want to see more. And the artistry of the movie is beautiful. They really did not spare any details. And
you're right. The wardrobe costume designing team was just working like 18, 19-hour days. Like, you'd see this whole team of people sewing dresses and costumes and doing fittings. There was a revolving door of actors, even background extras and stuff coming in for fittings. And then the hair and makeup team also did so much and really, did some cool stuff with the two Emmas, Emma Stone and Emma Thompson. And then my favorite element was the production design, where I show up at 7 a.m. strolling out of my trailer or whatever, and you go out and you look, and it looks like 1965 London or something. Like, it's awesome. Really cool to get swept up in the moment and allow yourself the kind of emotional attachment to the time period and the circumstances in a way that you couldn't do if it was just a courtroom movie and you're walking into a courtroom. It's different when you walk in. It's like, oh, this is London, this is the 60s, and this is wealth. And you're like getting all those layers that help put me in the place for the storytelling, and hopefully the audience will enjoy that as well. We got to shoot in some really high profile areas. There's a couple famous little streets and corners and shops that we shot in that at least the people from that area will get a kick out of seeing.
Oh, that's so cool. And when will that release in theaters?
I believe it's Friday, May 28th. It will be in theaters, and then also it's going to be on the Disney Plus, streaming app. But I don't know if it's right away or if it's after the fact. My hope is that they delay it so that we can actually make some sort of impact in the box office and try to get people back to the theaters, because that's something that's happening too. Just yesterday, the Alamo Drafthouse, a really famous sort of fun, atmospheric movie theater chain, just went and filed for bankruptcy. So movie theaters are starting to smell the whiff of the death that happened to the video stores, like Blockbuster Family Video. So I hope that doesn't become the trend. I hope that we can bounce back this summer with Disney and Marvel and all the big movies that are coming out.
Well, I'm hopeful that that people start getting more comfortable in going back to the theaters. Now that the COVID numbers are going down and states are starting to reopen, I think there's 4 or 5 on the list now, and opening 100%. So hopefully that'll. I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna hinder people going because there's no mask mandates, or is it going to make people feel more comfortable?
It's such a case-by-case basis, right? Because some people are just like, forget it, I'm done.
Right.
Spring break, and then some people are still very isolated and fearful, especially those that have lost a loved one. That's why we have to be sensitive too. You have all these people who are so proudly political about the face masks, and it's like, let's just be nice to both sides here. Like, it's a weird thing. None of us have been through it. The people that are scared, some of them might have lost an uncle or a spouse or a kid. You don't know. So stop being an a-hole about it and just know that we're all going to be in a continual transition. We're all going to be figuring it out in real time. My approach is going to be do the masks for the rest of the year, no matter what city or state or the country I'm in, and try to allow people their distance. But, with my close people, yeah, we're going to hug each other. Yeah, I might sit next to my brother in a movie theater and not flip out, But that's kind of a case-by-case thing for everybody.
Right. No, you are absolutely right. I know my dad was super bummed when he went and got his antibody test a few days ago.
Oh, the antibodies are gone, right?
They're gone. So now he's like, my armor is gone. But hey, his girlfriend kept them, so she must. I don't know. It's so weird, even just learning about that. But I have them, so I'm ecstatic, and I never had it.
Yeah, it's got to be tough for your dad too, because the thing about Dallas is he does so many things that are all. He does so many things for other people, but to be able to do things for all those other people and have that bandwidth and capacity, he has to take care of himself. So he does so much to help himself. So the idea of someone spending so much time, energy, money, and education to help oneself and then getting sick, it feels like such a slap in the face to all the diligence that's been done, But hopefully he's a healthy dude. I'm hoping he sticks around like Eastwood and is into his hundreds, hopefully.
Same.
Yeah.
Paul, I have a quick question for you. I watched you in several of your films, and I really like the way you have aligned yourself with winners, with proven winners, and that shows that you're a smart dude. How was it like to work with Clint Eastwood?
It was so much fun. He's a really you think of all these celebrities, and I've met X amount. I'm friendly with Clint. I'm friendly with DDP. I'm friendly with musicians. But you find out that so many people are just the same. We all want love. We all have dreams. We all have weaknesses. Like, it really helps when you meet those folks to just have honest conversations and then find the humanity and the commonality. And with Clint, I think me and Clint, our commonality is the love of cinema. and the love of just being able to enjoy yourself afterward. You know, we would go out for dinners with Clint, and he'd have these immaculate meals and invite all these people, interesting people to talk to at dinner. And he really loves that lifestyle. He's really created a wonderful family and team around him. And then, you know, becoming a small part of that family and team, he really trusts you. So when you get on set, there's no micromanaging. There's no, Paul, I really need you to do these 3 things. It's literally just, he barely says action. You just start acting. He watches you. And instead of yelling cut, he'll say that's enough. And we only do like 2-3 takes at most, and then we move on. So it's like, it's a fast day. It's a fun day. You're surrounded by dope people, or winners, as you put it. And then at the end of the day, at like 4 o'clock, they wrap us. Most movies, like, you don't get out till 7:30 or something. With Clint, you're out at 4, and it's like, okay, where are we going to eat? And then me and all the cast members, like John Hamm and Olivia Wilde, we'd all go out and meet for dinner and have drinks. And it was what I referred to as adult summer camp. You get to play during the day, and then you play a little bit at night, and you get home at a decent hour, and you're well rested to go back the next day. I think the one thing I will say, though, is it's scary starring in any movie, but starring in a Clint Eastwood movie that's based on a true story and all the relatives are alive and visiting set and stuff, that's a lot of pressure. I've never done that before. And there were a lot of days where I was chugging cold brew coffee and listening to like Christian worship music or Kendrick Lamar and just like beating my chest because like there's imposter syndrome, dude. Like, yeah, I can do stand-up comedy. Yeah, I can rap and love hip hop. Yeah, I can act as an actor or whatever. Like, I can do stuff. It doesn't mean I'm not battling the fear and doubts and trepidation and questions along the way. So you have to get into that other gear, which that's another thing Dallas is teaching me is how to stay in that mode. I know how to visit that mode, but I don't often stay in that mode. So that's something I'm still adjusting to.
Well, that's a really interesting thing that you bring up that I don't think a lot of people realize is that just because you're on the other side of that screen, or even for musicians, entertainers, whatever your profession is, just because you're in the spotlight does not mean you still don't get those butterflies, you still don't get nervous, you still don't have that pressure. And I think that's a really big thing that people, as the trendy word is, normalize understanding that you're a normal person, and Clint Eastwood is a normal person, and my dad is a normal person. And just because you chose a profession in the spotlight doesn't make you any less human than anybody else.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't negate confidence, it doesn't negate talent, but it's just the reality of it's scary. Like, I don't know how Tom Cruise feels when he does like the thing where he's grabbing onto a cliff or an airplane and he's suspended in 1 million feet up.
I thought that was you all along.
What's that?
I thought that was you.
No, not yet. Not yet. He, I don't, maybe he's Superman and nothing is scary and he's just otherworldly. But my guess is even Tom Cruise gets a little scared. You know, he's
Absolutely.
Probably scared shitless once in a while.
How was it working with Spike Lee? Another icon.
Another icon works a lot in the same way that Clint does. He keeps a tight-knit family of creative people. He trusts them implicitly and really lets them go off and do their thing. But where Clint is kind of whispering, Spike will bark or yell something out. Yo, why is this tree still here? This tree does not fit. Move the tree. Or like he'll yell for me and be like, where's Paul at? And I'm like, I'm right here, boss. And I'm like 3 feet behind him. And he's like, oh. It's super funny when he does that. But Spike's super giving, super smart about knowing what he does. Some people try to be someone they're not. Spike knows exactly who he is. And he is fitting everything to a very singular vision, which is why his movies are going to be watched probably long after we're all dead. You know, people will still be revisiting Do the Right Thing or Malcolm X or BlacKkKlansman because they resonate in a really powerful way.
Were you nervous when you got the call and the casting for the role because of the title and everything that involves?
Which film?
The BlacKkKlansman. With the title itself.
No, I was thrilled. I thought the title was dope. I knew I was going to play some racist white idiot, and I was like, well, I've met enough of them. Time to play that guy I've met at the end of the bar playing Keno by himself. Like, that's not hard to do. What's hard to do is to say the N-word in front of people you love who are black. That's not fun. That's not cool. But it's for the sake of storytelling, and you have Spike and everyone telling you to do it by way of script and by way of direction, and you got to lean into it and know that you're playing a part of an important story, and that in those confines, it's what you got to do.
No, absolutely. Yep. I couldn't even imagine. But and on the flip side, it's pretty awareness, and it gets people talking. And I think that's what's so important these days, is not just to make people or situations hashtags, but to keep it relevant, keep it talking, keep making people aware that the subtleties that humans tend to do as they speak, or actions that they do that they've just done their entire life without even thinking. It's time to really switch up that way of thinking, because now we are aware. And so if you don't, and you continue to do the things that you grew up with, or
right
at that point, now you're choosing to be disrespectful, and you're choosing to take that path. So,
and that's assuming you're educated, because once again, people get so touchy-feely about the idea of humbling oneself to be educated on just a minor point of social reform. And, if you're that butthurt that somebody is cornering you for 4 minutes to try to explain an unconscious psychological issue with a mass group of people, if you can't handle that, well, that's like not being able to do a jumping jack in DDP's basement. Like, get the hell out of here. You don't get it. You can't do it. Clearly, it's too much for you. And so it's like that with politics. I think the whole hashtag culture of people trying to make sort of insular trends based on social problems.
Right.
Sometimes it's helpful, but I'd say 50 to 60, even 70% of the time, it's a bunch of white noise.
Right.
It's a bunch of, and I didn't even mean that to be white noise, white people, but a lot of it is white noise, and it's white people trying to feel good about themselves by overcorrecting a mistake and being fiery about it. And it's actually just quite embarrassing. Because the non-white people see that and they know what that is. They're paying attention.
I completely agree with that point. Excellent.
It's true, but I think rather than add verbiage to a conversation as if that's reinventing the wheel, we have to feed the conversation with the personal stories, whether it's police brutality or what it's like having 2 jobs on minimum wage while raising kids without another adult in the house. Like, whatever that is, whatever we can do from a story perspective, journalistically or narratively with film and music and television, books, art, whatever we can do to feed the conversation, I think is wonderful. And that's hopefully where we're all headed, is what's the best way to educate someone? Sometimes it's by entertaining them, because the person who's offended by the 4-minute convo you're trying to have with them over a couple of drinks about social reform, if you show it in a movie with one of their favorite actors, maybe they're going to sponge it and take it in a way they wouldn't normally. And that's how powerful what we do is. Fast and the Furious might not do that, but we're just entertaining ourselves, which is wonderful too, and we need that. But there are films that people like Spike Lee make that change the conversation, change people's hearts and minds, because they understand it from an ulterior vantage point, which is a big deal.
Is that something that's important to you when it comes to reading a script, knowing that you're getting into something that it's meaningful and it's not only for a paycheck?
Absolutely. The best is when it's both, Richard Jewell was a little bit of money in my pocket, and it's an important story. BlacKkKlansman, I probably made like $7 to $10 grand. I didn't make much at all, and I'm eternally thrilled that I was a part of it. So the hope is to just keep telling really good stories. And more than anything, you want to do a character you can do well. I never want to swing at the batter's box because I love getting a single. I want to swing because I know I'm getting on third and maybe hitting a home run. Because it's actually creatively dishonest for me to sign on to a movie I want to be a part of if I don't know how to murder that character. That's just me going, God, I really want to work with Robert Rodriguez. Well, guess what? Robert Rodriguez has $70 million, could cast anyone, and has a million things he has to do. And if you're not being wholly, WHOLLY, wholly additive to the creative experience for him, get the hell out of here. Don't do it. So there have been projects I've passed on that people have given me, and I've said, I'm not going to be additive, or this doesn't make sense, or I can't find my way into a character, you know. The one I'm doing at Apple where I'm playing a serial killer, that's actor candy. Every actor wants to play a sicko or a psycho. All of them do. That's why we get into the business, to try to stretch and do something different and really wow people with where we go psychologically and creatively. So having said that, you know, that's when that offer, it wasn't an offer, by the way, I auditioned for that one. Okay. When that audition came in, I was like, oh yeah, I can play this dude. I can turn this on. Equal parts empathy and icky, you know? You're trying to love the person and understand them even though you're repulsed. And you have to do repulsive things.
Oh, I'm so excited to see that. And that's being filmed in New Orleans, correct?
Nolans. Or as I call it, Cheat Meal City.
Yeah.
I'm better if I say that.
You're right. No, but it really is. Some of the best food I've ever had is in New Orleans. But I can direct you. I spent a lot of time in New Orleans when I lived in Birmingham. I can direct you on where you can eat and where you should stay.
Please do.
It better be healthy, by the way.
What's that?
They better be healthy meals where she's sending you.
I know. The problem is
not happening.
Butter and garlic and butter and fried and garlic and butter.
My take on it isn't policing the ingredients for a meal once a week out of, you know, even if you eat two meals a day on average, that's 14 in a week. So 13 of them are going to be very respectable and conscious and cognizant. There'll be one that the ingredients won't be as cognizant, but I'm still going to exercise portion control. So if I have pizza, I'll have 2 slices with, you know, half of a can of Coke. It won't be me hossing out, because that'll undo all the hard work I did in the other 13 years.
Right.
You know, the idea isn't to undo any of the hard work. It's just to do something vaguely naughty that you can correct and balance out with all the other work.
No, absolutely. I think that's very important to shock your system. And when I did I'm so apprehensive on saying the bodybuilding competition. I was in the fitness part, so no idea.
Oh, but call it what it is. You did it.
It's like a monster. No, when I did compete with IFBB, it was amazing because you will plateau at some point. Even though you're still doing the same things and you lost so much weight, you will plateau. So it is important to shock your system and to treat yourself. And I mean,
what's going on in the background, Paul?
My ex-wife is just grabbing her stuff. I need you out. That's one of 17 pages under this roof.
We had so many. My last name, Oakley's middle name, Page McMahon, my dad's girlfriend, Dallas Page.
New name. Probably get a name change at some point for this experience. No, this family is amazing. It's there's a revolving door of talented, loving, creative people. It's pretty cool. It's a fun place to be.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad at all.
How was your experience in Cobra Kai? I love that show. Grew up on it.
That show's kind of a little small TV miracle. Like it almost like I, Tonya, when you hear the pitch, you're like, is that going to be good? And then they figure it out and they strike some balance between sort of campy comedy stuff and then sort of the endearing, straightforward stuff with the flashbacks and bringing Mr. Miyagi into the story, post-mortem. Like, they find a way to really balance the fun with the emotive. And I think my character is kind of fun for audiences because it's kind of like if a fan of Cobra Kai, the show, was in the show, if that makes sense. That's kind of who my character Stingray is, the guy who's lined up at Comic-Con with a bunch of stuff ready to get signed by, Danielson. So I love that show. I hope I get to return and do something with them again, but it's such a bloated cast and it's blowing up right now, so it's going to be tough to get back on there, but I hope it happens.
That's amazing. That's so exciting. You're doing so many big things, and I mean, you really have so much ahead of you. And though you've done some great projects, I mean, the best is really ahead. I have no doubt in my mind.
I was actually shocked. I didn't know you were a comedian as well. For me, it was Richard Jewell. That's when I really discovered you. And man, you killed it, literally. I felt so bad for that character, that poor man, what he went through, you know, and that was because of your artistry and the talent that you bring to the table. But then, on the other hand, I find out you're a comedian, and I can't understand that. I mean, you obviously you're extremely funny. I'm already getting, you know, where it comes from. But how long you been performing?
Well, I'll show you this. I'll move this microphone. Hold on one second. I'll move this microphone.
Are you going to show off the six-pack? Is that what you're doing?
No, no, there's nothing to show. It's not even a 40 ounce right now. Six-pack is on its way. This is Chingon.
Chingon.
Yeah, which means badass, or I believe it is.
Yeah.
This is a tattoo shop in my hometown of Saginaw, Michigan. And one of the tattoos I got recently is all my sort of comedy heroes growing up. So what you'll see here is we got Martin Short, Daniel Stern, Chris Farley, Jim Varney, Jim Carrey, and Robin Williams. But what I love is, you know, what Robin and Jim did really well, Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, is they cemented themselves in comedy, stand-up, improv, movies and TV. For Robin, it was, of course, Mork and Mindy, that television series. But then they ended up doing these brilliant dramatic performances. And I always looked at myself as trying to do what they did of, why can't I both play, why can't I do Jumanji and in the same breath Good Will Hunting? You know, why can't I do Man on the Moon, the Andy Kaufman story, and go do Liar Liar? So the hope is that I'll get to achieve that at some point. But, you know, I'm a weird actor. Like, I'm a guy, you can't really corner me. Or what would it, not corner me. You can't really.
Yeah, put you in a box.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell to, like, compare me to. Like, Richard Jewell and Cobra Kai, Reno 911, and Kingdom, and BlacKkKlansman. Like, it's just kind of all over the place. But the stuff I like, I don't know if I can curse or not.
Yeah, go. Let it ride.
The shit I really like is varied. So, you know, in my music, I don't just listen to one genre. I'll make a playlist and I listen to Garth Brooks and Kendrick Lamar and Frank Sinatra and Run the Jewels and Rosemary Clooney. All over the place.
Leon Bridges last night.
Leon Bridges, right? Sam Cooke, you know I love. Mm-hmm. Johnny Mathis. But there's a million. So with acting, it's like there are times where a little comedy thing comes in and my reps will be like, you don't want to do this, do you? And I'm like, yes, I do want to do that.
Right.
And then they'll bring me other stuff where they're like, you might want to do this. And I go, nope. So hopefully I keep people guessing. And I think losing 40 pounds now and then another 60 by the end of the year, losing 100 pounds will also keep people guessing.
Right,
and,
of course.
The people that say, well, are you still going to get cast if you lose all that weight? You're like the fat, funny guy. My answer to them would be, I'm not a fat actor. I'm a good actor. Right. And I'm willing to risk it and see what's on the other side.
It doesn't define you. Your talent is from within, and your heart is amazing. I have to brag because you came into the house, and we don't know what to expect because you play so many different roles. So are you the funny guy? Are you the serious guy?
A lot of funny, weird dudes too. So it could have been super sketchy. Yeah.
It could have been. I mean, but you never know. But the thing is you came in and you are so humble and so genuine, and you blended right into our family. And you are just an incredible human outside of your talent. So your talent is is what you give to people, but your heart is why you are going to go far. You are just a good person. And
the best compliment you gave me was saying I fit in with the family.
You do. You are very crazy, dysfunctional, weirdly put together family. Ivan, you experienced it going through the dynamics. You met Josh.
I mean, equal parts. You guys wear your trophies and your scars on the same, mantelpiece, and that's how I've been my entire life. I've battled depression, and I've, smoked weed with Seth Rogen. Yes, I've been directed by Clint Eastwood, but I've been in relationships that were ill-fated. Yeah, there's a million issues I have that are either visible or not visible, and the way to deal with all of that or live with all of that is to be honest and then say, well, what is my response to said adversity? What is my response to how I feel about myself? And Dallas Page has done a pretty incredible thing where he's forced me to meditate on some of those things, and now I'm getting to take some action and change some things. I'm excited.
You're killing it. You're absolutely killing it.
The talent shines, my friend. Everything that you touch, honestly, it comes right through the screen. We love it. Please continue to deliver more hits to us, because we like you in all shapes and sizes.
Thanks, man. I appreciate hearing. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I hate to cut it here, but I actually have to come home and start dinner because we have Ira Dean from Trick Pony coming over to the house before he performs at the Roxy. It's a very, very fast-paced life, but thank you so much for coming on. We adore you. I cannot wait to see you in Cruella and your serial killer role. You are killing it, and you are
literally killing it.
Let me
literally killing it.
Let me quick mention. I have a movie out now called Silk Road with Nick Robinson and Jason Clarke. That's available Amazon Prime, Video on Demand, all those platforms. And then I have a movie coming out in April next month called Eat Wheaties with Tony Hale, who's famous from stealing so many scenes in Arrested Development and Veep, the show on HBO. That'll be available for VOD. Cruella is May 28th. I hope everyone will go see that. And then I also have a show I did at Apple TV. It was a podcast, but it's also kind of being made into like a weird sci-fi mystery horror show. It's called Calls, Calls. Calls features me, Rosario Dawson, Nick Jonas, Pedro Pascal, the lead in The Mandalorian. It's going to be a really, really cool show and kind of groundbreaking in merging TV and podcasts. So check that out next month.
So clearly the last year of your life has been very low-key, not busy. That's basically what you're saying.
Super quiet. Well, now is kind of that time to be more selective and try to find the great work. Because I could do good work the rest of my life. I love working. I have fun. I'm convivial. I love being around casts and crews and all that stuff. But I really want to try to be an artist, even though that feels like a weird word to say and I feel weird about saying it. I do want to be an artistic person who's choosier, and when people think of me, they'll think of those prestige, reliable projects. So,
well, we definitely do already. You already got there. Trust me. It's already happening.
I'm getting there. I got my bachelor's. I'm working on my master's. Thanks for having me, guys.
It's a pleasure. Next time you come to Miami, there's a cafecito waiting for you.
What up? Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
I love it. Y'all have a good one.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.